Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of On the Boundary. Just two cricket coaches chatting cricket. Still me, Coach Lou, and I'm with my co-host here, Spinach. Spinach, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. But how are you?
I'm good. I just had a cricket game after a while, so I'm still feeling a bit stiff, but yeah, no complaints. It's always nice to be out there and having fun for a change.
Yeah, same here. I'll be out in the field tomorrow. Hopefully, it's not too hot, but always nice to be out in the sun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so this is our second episode back from wherever we said we had gone. And today we're talking about the test series to Bangladesh. We've already lost Nandre Berger injured. We've lost Temba Bavuma also. We haven't lost him for the whole series. They said he's ruled out for the first game,
The first one.
but then he's gonna play the second game. But I want us to first talk about the whole squad, Coach R. I want us to sort of break it down, though. Let's talk about the squad in terms of the bowling department. Are you happy with the bowlers that were picked? Do you think there's a bowler that could have been picked, or do you think there's a bowler that maybe is somewhat lucky to be in the squad?
Uh, yeah, going to Bangladesh, I think you you can afford to go in with a little less bowlers. Most of the work you feel and think will be done by your spinners. So picking two of your best spinners is very important going into that. So and then you sort of know that those two will probably start, and then you only need about two seamers to carry the other workload. So, yes, it looks light when you look at the squad. You feel like we might be a bowler short or a bowler here or there short, but I think KG, Lungi, Keshav, Dane Beat may be enough for most of the games.
Yeah.
So, and I think Dane Patterson has done something to impress the coaching staff because they seem to be showing a lot of faith in him. He was a bit of a, not a bit of a surprise, but I think now with Lungi in, it's not as bad. But I felt him being in ahead of Lungi in the first squad before the injuries. That was a little bit of a shock to me. But as I said again, it's not too too shocking. Mochasami again gets called up as a. I think he'll always be that said to be all rounder kind of guy because I don't think he's the number three spinner in the country, but he's not that. He's good enough as a spinner to be there as the all rounder.
Talking about that number three spinner, at some point we had Simon Hammer. I know you're a massive fan. When Dane Peter was in the USA playing there, we had Simon Hammer. Dane Pete comes back, and suddenly Simon Hammer is out of the picture. Uh, like nothing was explained. We don't know what happened. Whether Simon Hammer said he's not up for selection or what, but we don't know. But basing it on what we know and what we've seen, what's your opinion on Dane Pete taking over or Dane Pete leapfrogging or Simon Hammer in terms of selection?
It's while it was just Simon Harmer versus Dane Beat, I think I was fine with Dane Beat playing ahead of Simon Harmer because Dane Beat was available when people weren't available in New Zealand. He went there, he performed. So chucking him out of the squad straight after that might have been a little harsh. But now going to Bangladesh, picking three spinners and still not picking Simon Harmer makes me feel like there's a little bit more to it than just because. even if you're saying Simon Homer is not the second best spinner in the country, which I think he still might, he's close enough to Dane Beat. It's either or.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's definitely in the top three. So if with him still not going there might be more to it. But honestly, I don't want to get into it without any information because I do not know why he's not being picked. But I do feel he's got enough quality to be there as our second spinner with Keshav Maharaj. I know there were some shouts already saying he might even be the number one spinner, but I think Keshav Maharaj has already done enough to cement that position. But Simon Harmer is definitely good enough to be SA's second spinner, but Dane Pete is not bad either. So if it was a shootout between those two, I'd take whichever one gets into the team.
Yeah, and apparently Simon Hammer hasn't been in great form down in England, so maybe that could be another reason behind it. But we know he was dropped before this. But yeah, I'm also with you on that one. For me, I don't know, man. I'm not sure about Muthusami. I've got nothing against him, but I don't know. I felt maybe we could have gone Suprayan, but also Shooks probably wanted to go for someone with a bit of international experience, as we have seen, even with Nandre Berger's injury. I remember there was an interview where Shooks said there's a huge possibility that Ulungisani might only play when he played home. It happened that Nandre got injured, then Shooks had to sort of revisit that. And I think one of the reasons he went for Lungi is the fact that he has some international experience. Even though personally, I never agreed with the whole idea of just using Ulungi Ngiti at home. I think there's still more to Ulungi, and Lungi still has a lot to offer, and hopefully he can showcase that in Bangladesh for the series. He's probably going to be one of two seamers that are going to play. I don't think Dane Peterson is going to. Sorry, I don't think Dane Pedersen is going to play ahead of Lungi, but also I don't think Dane Pedersen is a bad choice. I'm just not sure whether I don't know how he's going to fit in at the moment. But also the injury of Nandre I think is big because of that left arm variation that he was bringing into the attack. I don't know why Marco Janssen is not back into the squad. He's playing for the Dragons. I saw him. I think it was the other day he was playing. So I don't know. I don't know why he's not in the squad. The last time I checked, he was being rested. He was going to work on his fitness and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. As far as the all rounders is concerned, I don't know whether we're gonna go with Vian Mulder at 7 or we're gonna go with Muthusami, which is going to allow us to play maybe three seamers. Could be that. Could be that. Could that be the direction that the coach wants to take? Muthusami at 7, then you can play one spinner batting in the lower order and three seamers, or do you think is gonna go Vian Mulder 7 and two spinners batting below Uvian? And how would you line the team up in terms of number 7 to 11?
Mm, I think we might even go in with a 7-4, honestly, and not actually have an all rounder at 7. And if you're playing Vian Mulder, we do what I think he did in the last year series and play him ahead of a bowler at like 8 and play him as a bowler, which is what he has done. But I wouldn't go that direction. I'd still go 7-4 without an all rounder and just have batters in the top 7. If
Yeah.
you need that extra spinner, extra few overs, you've got Stars and Aiden in the team. So that's the direction I would go. So and keep the balance like that. And I feel like with you picking two spinners, having three spinners in the team or having too many bowlers, if that even makes sense, because once you have two spinners and you think they're going to bowl bulk of the overs that you have, it
Yeah.
feels like a waste to go in with an extra a fifth bowler sometimes, especially a specialist bowler who who, if doesn't bowl, will feel like he's just in the 11 and the space is being wasted. So I'd go in with the two opening bowlers being KG and Lungi, and then play Keshav and Beat as my spinners. And having the option of an Aiden, the option of Stubbs, if push really comes to shove, and to throw in a few overs for you.
You mentioned Vian Mulder possibly batting 8 there. It's something I personally don't agree with. I think the question should be, what do we see Vian Mulder as? Is Mulder a bowling all rounder? Is Mulder a batting all rounder? Or is he a bowler who can bat? Or is he a batter who can bowl? Because I think at the moment we sort of don't know how to use him. We don't know where we should play him. Um, Came through, he was batting 7, but he was doing better with the ball than with the bat. Suddenly, last few test matches that we played, he's batting 8, and I don't understand. I don't know what you think about that, but personally, for me, he's either batting in the top 7 or he's running in with drinks for me. Regardless of the pitch we're playing on, for me, I'd rather have him batting in the top 7 as the guy who is going to be my third seamer when I need a third seamer, or he's not in my starting 11. I don't know about you, Coachy, but for me, I feel like for me, he's a batting all rounder. And as a batting all rounder, I cannot have you betting at 8. But this is probably a template they took from England. If you remember, they had someone like Moeen Ali betting at 8. It's something that I've never supported. Something that I've never understood the logic behind. It's a bit defensive in my opinion, because if we can't trust the top 7 to score runs, then it means they shouldn't be there. We cannot be picking 8 batters because our top 7 is suddenly not scoring runs. It's either the scoring runs or we dropping them. I don't know what you think about that, Coachy.
I totally agree with you, but I also want to specify that to the coaches, picking Vian Mulder as a bowling all-rounder is not as far-fetched as it sounds because of what he's done in the national team. He's
Yeah.
really struggled to get the runs for him to justify his position as a batsman in the team. So yes, if you followed him domestically, he's definitely a batsman who bowls, therefore a batting all rounder. But for the national team, even in the last series when he did bat 7, 8, he took wickets, but still didn't get as many runs as you would like. So I understand it. I also don't support it. As when I was telling you how I would go, I'd go in with 4 bowlers and 7 batsmen, and right that the opportunity to go in with 7 batsmen, have Ryan Rickleton and maybe Carl Verreynne in the team to shoot it out for that keeper role
Yeah.
is is the direction I think I'd go at the moment. And not to say Vian Mulder is discarded and thrown away. Still young, still will get his chance. And I think I also don't want him getting that chance at 8 and just being a
Yeah.
bowler, because I do feel the batting aspect of Vian is very important and should be his main weapon when he gets into the Proteas lineup.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. And for me, I think we are not giving Vian Mulder enough time for him to try and learn and understand his game. He gets dropped. He goes to England, for example, scores a few runs. He comes back in SA, scores a few runs, and already he's suddenly back into the side. I think for me, the fact that he was initially picked was a suggestion that he's good enough, he's a good player. So now for us to drop him and then pick him as soon as he scores runs, for me it's something that I don't really understand, because I feel the issue with him was him not understanding his game. And I don't think him betting at 8 and then betting at 9 is going to help him improve in terms of scoring runs. It might confuse him even more because now I go to the Lions, I bet 5, I bet 6. I'm a betting all rounder there. I'm taking wickets. I come to the national team. I'm betting 8, I'm betting 7. Now, what is my role? What is my role for me? Because I think the other big thing that I wish we could get to a point where they work around it. It's the whole disconnect between the national coach and the coaches who are coaching at domestic cricket. I think it's something that we spoke about even in the previous episode that we had when we spoke about Omako Janssen, the fact that he had never batted at 7 in first class cricket for his franchise when he was batting 7 for the Proteas. Yeah, so I think that's another thing that I think we need to work around. Maybe coaches need to build a relationship where Shooks can pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Russell Domingo, let's have a chat. This is what I have planned for someone like Vian Mulder. What are your plans for Vian Mulder?" And then they work around that so that he has the same role for the Lions that he's going to be needed for the Proteas. A bit like in football, you hardly get a guy who's performing as a left back for his club being picked to play right back. So I think it's a system we probably need to work around because at the moment I don't know, man. Vian Mulder is coming across as a bit of as one of those players we call bits and pieces, Bomowin Ali. So you never know whether he's gonna come through with the bat. You never know whether he's gonna come through with the ball. But also even the position they bat in, you never know. Today he could bet 9, tomorrow he could bet 8, the other day he could bet 7. So I think it's just one of those things, man. The other thing, Temba. He's been our best better for the last, I don't know, is it 3 years or so? And yeah, he won't be there for the first test. I don't know if he's gonna make it for the second test. Big loss. Who do we go with? Who replaces him? Matthew Pritzker was in the squad. Uh, Dewald Brevis has been picked as a replacement. How do we go about it, Coachy? How do you go about it? Do we go Matthew Pritzker back in Timber's position? Do we change the batting lineup since Matthew Pritzker would be making his debut? Do we throw him in at 5, or do we throw in him at 4, or do we say no? Maybe Bettingham 4, Matthew 5. How do we work around it? Or do you say no? It's okay. Let's just take the youngster in Dewald Brevis and just throw him in and see how he's gonna go. Because I remember this is where Temba Bavuma scored his maiden test 50. I remember it was when your favorite AB de Villiers had to go to his wife. His wife was going to give birth, so he wasn't available for the series. And then Temba was called up. He scored a beautiful, I think it was a 65, and we were struggling. And that series was rain affected, but he scored a beautiful 65 that day. So I'm sure you would have enjoyed to bet there again. But just going back to my question, how are we going about this? Who is coming in for Temba? We already know who the captain is going to be in place of Temba, so that's okay. Aiden Markram is going to be captain, and I think we would both agree on that. It's okay. We don't mind that. Bet in terms of betting order now. How are you going about it?
With Temba only being at the moment confirmed out for one game, I would whoever comes in, I just bet him with Temba bats. So I think they've got two options. Right now they've got two options, and it's are they playing Vian Mulder at 7 as the all-rounder? If they do that, then Ryan Rickleton can come in at 4. That shouldn't be a problem for Ryan Rickleton. He can bet, I think, anywhere in that lineup. I would go the other way and have Matthew Bretzke coming in at 4, have Ryan Rickleton coming in at 6, and not Vian, Kyle Verreynne coming in at 7, going 7 batters, and then the 4 bowlers, as I said before. In that way, we get Matthew Breschke up the order, and we keep Stubbs at 3 because a lot of people might think Matthew Breschke bats sometimes up the order. He can come in at 3. You push
Yeah,
Stubbs in a little lower, maybe David at 4, then Stubbs at 5 or 6. But I think you want to keep most of your lineup in the positions that you've set for them for the longer term. So I'd be happy with Stubbs at 3, Matthew at 4. You keep David at his number 5. Ryan Rickleton comes in at 6. I know it's not his position yet because he's not doesn't have a set position in the team. Comes in at 6 with Kyle Verreina at 7, and then the
yeah.
bowlers.
Would you not be worried though about having Stubbs at 3, who is relatively young in terms of age and in terms of experience internationally
Experience.
and in Test cricket, and also having at number 4 Stubbs, who is also very young. Also not Stubbs, man, Matthew, who's also
Matthew.
very young and who would also be making his debut. I know I'm asking this question as if you've got other options in the batting lineup of which you don't, but would that not be a concern that you think Ushuks would have? You have Stubble, who's going to be playing his third test match at number 3, and you've got Matthew Bretzker making his debut at 4. Would you not be tempted to say, you know what, Bedas, you've got way more experience than these young ones. Let me just have you in between Stubble and Matthew Bretzker. So let's rather go Bedas 4, Bretzker 5.
Uh, I really did consider that. Even not just at 5, having Matthew going all the way down to 6, having Ryan Rickleton at 5 and Perez at 4. But I didn't want to tamper too much with the lineup,
Yeah.
especially with Kemba still being on the tour, Kemba still being assessed to play the the second test. So if it was just he's out for the series and be sure about that, and whoever's coming in might get 2 games, then I would have been a lot happier to rejig the team and have splitting the inexperienced players, even though most of this team is still very inexperienced. I would have been able to play around, even if it's not international experience, having people like David who've got first class experience, a lot of it, and Ryan who's got a lot more first class experience than Matthew, getting them a little higher up in the order or playing around with that. But
Yeah.
with it just being at the moment, I know Temba is not certain to come in the second game, but at the moment we've got this squad and for 1 game. So I have Matthew coming in at 4 just for this 1 game. Yes, worried about it, but thinking that it's the best solution for now.
Away. Also, we spoke about this in on our last show. We spoke about it even a long time ago. Stubble at 3, but I want to throw in a different name for 3 now. You've got Ryan Rickleton in your squad. He has batted. He has opened the batting. He has batted 3. He has batted even lower down. I think no, I don't think, but would that not be something that you would also consider? Depending on how Stubbs goes at 3, of course, we said if you decide to go with Stubbs at 3, you need to give him a long rope and see how he comes good. But I don't think someone like Ryan Rickleton would be new to the position. He's done it before. Would that not be something that you would at some point consider? Maybe having Ryan Rickleton at 3, and then maybe take Stubbs and swap with him and have Stubble coming in at 6.
Uh, that's a thought you'd always have because of the quality of Ryan Rickleton. But even now, I just said with this Temba absence, you've got the option of going Ryan Rickleton, even if it's still keeping Stubbs at 3, but having Ryan
Yeah.
Rickleton at 4, and then having a Vian Mulder maybe at 7. That's an option. Uh, But I think in the long run, I really think his place in this team. I don't want to bracket him into one position. He's going to be the
Yeah.
keeper because I do feel he's the net keeper in line. Kyle's got a beautiful 100, but other than that, he's hasn't put the runs on the table. Probably the best clubman in the country, but the runs are not there at the moment. So that's the position I feel is up for grab for Ryan because as you see, we know Kemba's coming back. Stubbs has been backed, and I hope he continues being back. The openers are the openers at the moment. Aiden is captaining this game, showing that
Yeah.
he's also backed by the coaching staff. So for Ryan and what he can get in that Proteas lineup, I do think he should be batting lower down at the moment, which is why I got him at 6 in my fantasy
Yeah.
lineup. Because I feel that's where he will be, and that's where he will be even when we do go and leave the subcontinent and have to play 5 bowlers being all rounder at 7, and when Jansen also comes back. So that's the number that's available.
Away. So we go into the first test match. Matthew Pritzker makes his debut, scores a dirty 100. Never mind the results. Temba is past fit for the second test match. What do you do? Temba's captain, senior player, captain, senior player. He's been around. He's been our best batter for the last 3 years. Young Matthew Pritzker comes through, scores a Morse 100. I don't know. I don't want to assume the result, but I'm just saying hypothetically, scores a big 100. What do you do? Bearing in mind the South African cricket fraternity and the things that could be said depending on the decision that is made, what would you do?
For me,
I know I'm putting you in a tight spot here.
For me, it's very simple. For me, Temba is captain. Temba comes back into the team. But the question is, who do we drop, rather than if Temba plays? Because Temba is coming in no matter what. Like I feel if Temba's fit, Temba plays. He's the captain, and I would say that's whoever the captain was, and he's the incumbent.
Let me complicate this even further for you. Because I see where you are going. Matthew comes in at 4. He scores a beautiful 100. Ryan at 6 scores runs. Kyle Verreynne at 6 scores runs. What do you do? The only 2 people that don't score runs, Bedders and Stubble.
As I still say, I think we would, because Temba's coming back. He plays. Matthew's got a big score. It needs to be bigger than Kyle and Ryan for this to be complicated. But then it still, for me, would be the openers are the openers and will be the openers for a while. Stubbs is staying in the team for me because he Stubbs, and he's the number 3 for the long term. Yeah. I feel the most, even if it's just for me, the most uncertain player in that lineup right now, who is in the starting 11, if everyone's fit, is Kyle Verreynne. And it would be a shootout on who do they want. Do they want Kyle Verreynne or Ryan Riggleton? And that would be the choice.
So you would still look at Riggs or Kyle, regardless of the number of runs both of them score.
Yeah, that's the 3. You've got all of them scoring 3, scoring runs, but the place where you look at it, Matthew Pritzker, Ryan Riggleton, and Kyle Verreynne. that's where Temba would be coming back for.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I thought you were going to struggle to answer this question, but yeah, no, I also agree with you. It would cause a lot of noise if you went for the guy that just scored 100. But yeah, also me, I think it is going to get to a point where Shooks needs to choose between Kyle and Rix. At the moment, I think Kyle is ahead in terms of what Ushooks wants from the team and how he wants to pick the team. At the moment, I think Kyle is still ahead. And I remember we spoke about a technique Kyle in depth and how we felt it's going to get him into trouble more often than not. The fact that he hardly moves his feet, it's effective in white ball cricket. It will be effective most of the time, but when it comes to Test cricket, bowlers can be vultures in that format. But we will see how it goes. I think both of them are quality batters. Kyle Norrix. I think in terms of batting, both of them bring something different. Both of them possibly could have a spot in the side, but like you said, if everyone is fit, ideally you want to have six batters, seven with the all rounder that also forms part of your bowling attack, which is your fifth bowler, and that is Marco Jansen at seven. I think for now in the test team, Marco Jansen is locked in as our number seven. So based on how Reeks is doing, based on how Kyle Verreynne is doing, then our number six is going to come out between the two of them. Fortunately for Kyle, Unfortunately for Kyle, these days when keepers are picked, they look at the runs because in terms of keeping, I'd say Kyle will easily make most teams. It's very neat behind the stance, hardly dives. You hardly see him because that's how good he is and how good his technique is. But yeah, Coach Ara, how do you think we're gonna go for the series? How do you think we're gonna do? We struggle. We struggle in the subcontinent. We struggle against spinners, and Bangladesh has spinners. They've got Shakib Al Hassan, and I think he's going to be playing his last series. So he's gonna want to finish the game. His career is gonna want to close his career with a bang, and beating the Proteas is going to be something that's a good send off for him. He's a slow left arm spinner, and South African batters and slow left armers, I don't know whether it's a better love story than Twilight, but yeah, how do you think the series is gonna go?
Uh, it depends on the type of pitches they give us. I think if they go really flat, I think we won't have too much of a problem with them. Maybe we might get drawn series, but if they go really flat, I think we will be fine. If they bring in rank turners and it turns up quite a bit, uh, which is why I think they would go. And then in that case, the seventh batsman is very important for us
Yeah,
because there we will then just need the two spinners to do most of the wickets for us. Keshav, I believe, is quality, and whatever conditions they give us, he will be key for this tour. So, and speed is good enough, especially if it's turning. He turns it both ways. So
yeah,
that's very important. And I feel seven batsmen, seven very attacking batsmen. So even if it is turning, those batters won't get bogged down. Even the boy on debut, if he gets the debut, Matthew, he won't get bogged down. He will try to find a
yeah,
way to score runs. And I feel that's very important because if you wait for the bad ball, the good one might come before, especially if it's turning a lot, and then we struggle more that way. But I feel like if we go with the lineup that we've got, Tony, Aiden, Stubbs, Badders, Rickleton, and then Matthew above and Kyle Verreynne, they can attack most winners, attack it with using their feet, running hard,
Yeah.
and hitting it over the boundary. So we can get the runs for us to be able to win the series.
As long as we don't score for 500 and lose by an innings, I'm okay. I'll be happy. as long as we don't as long as we don't pull a Pakistan, I still can't believe that happened. How do you score 500 plus and still lose by an innings and over 40 runs? No, only Pakistan can do that. Only Pakistan can do that. But before we close it off for today, Coachy, I just have a question. Just looking at the national team, how do we address the issue of spin? How do we fix the issue of spin? I think lower down, we sort of have an idea of how we can work around the youngsters and how to get them to play spin. The more spin they face, the more they improve. But now you've got guys playing international cricket, and you look at the top 10 bowlers for almost every season, you will always have a spinner in the top five, more than two spinners sometimes. How do we try and address this issue of spin in the national team now? How would you go about it?
Once it's getting to the national team, it's very because we've had. I do not know how many spin camps in Sri Lanka, spin camps wherever.
India.
We've had the spin camps, and it's very tough for you to look at any of these batsmen and say they're terrible against spin or they can't play spin. So it's gotten to a point where we just need to have people score runs now against the spin because you're looking at the team like Temba. If he's fit, he's probably the best player of spin in this team. Tony's got his sweep shots. Uh, he's not struggling too much against spin. Aiden Inform can play spin. You've got Matthew. If he gets his chance, he can play spin. The others, yes, they play. Ryan Rickerton loves the slog sweep, but he also can dominate spin. So they, on paper, if you want to say they don't look like they struggle, but there's one thing I've noticed, and it's something that we've got a lot in domestic. We've got a lot of teams with and that go into games with offies with left arm orthodox who are sometimes batters who bowl rather than therefore the amount of quality spin that we're facing. We don't have a lot of Imran Manaks going around who are, I don't want to say because he's not mystery, but who are slightly different. Because now most of the batters just have smooth actions and they don't challenge the batsman as much on facing spin while at domestic. So the reason why the subcontinent players are so good against spin is because they face it every day and they face a lot of quality spin. And it's not just the spin that goes international or plays for the national team. It's domestic spinners who you never know about, but they play quality spin day in, day out. So for us, it's just now a matter of how much spin do we get to face. And we're not going to face as much as we'd like because we're in South Africa. But I think that's where the key crux of it is.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that one, and I also think sometimes it's a bit mental. I think it's a mental thing. Oaks know how to play spin, like they're good at playing spin, but when they get to that level, it's always the thing of do I attack, do I just block, instead of them being positive, using their feet, using their crease. Sometimes others get to a point where they overdo this whole thing of using your feet and using your crease to a point where they move too much. For me, I think it's all about backing yourself, man. It's all about backing your shots. You know which shots you have, which shots you normally use to score when facing spin. But I think sometimes the guys find themselves in the middle of nowhere. They don't know whether should I attack the spin or should I try and block the spin. And once you are in that position, you're always going to get into trouble against spinners because that's where they want you. They want you to find yourself at sea. Your feet now stop moving properly. Your head is no longer in the right position because you don't know where you need to be or what you need to do. But yeah, I think in terms of the series, might be an exciting one. Um, it's going to be a fresh challenge for the guys. Stubble, Matthew Pritzker, if he plays, I think for me they're going to be our key players coming from this side of the country. We know pitches are a lot slower here. They turn even in club cricket. You get slower wickets. Spinners play a massive role this side. So I think the two of them are going to be quite key. And I'm hoping to see Ustabs attack the spinners because he's really good at playing spin. He's got a really good sweep shot. I know a lot of coaches are probably cringing now. They'll probably cringe when they hear me talk about the sweep shot because a lot of people probably think a sweep shot's not one of the shots that you'd play in Test cricket. For me, it's 2024, bro. If you've got a good sweep shot and the ball is there for you to sweep, I'm all for that. I'm all for guys expressing themselves. Not saying they should be reckless. I'm all for guys expressing themselves. So I'd be happy to see Matthew Pritzker attacking his spinners. I remember not even Tristan Stubbs. I remember a few years ago when Stubbs scored his first 3-day 100. It was against Tuskers. Now Tuskers. I think it was Inland in the then
England.
semi-pro, yeah, and then semi-pro, and the sweep shot he was playing there of the spinners, bruh. I had a conversation with one of the players that played there, and he says one of the spinners still talks about it till today. That's how good that sweep shot was, and yeah, man, the guys must just go there and enjoy the experience. But I would like to see us dominate Bangladesh. That's the kind of cricket I would like to see us play now. That cricket way, which is coming hard at opposition, dominating them. And who knows, we might make it to Lords. Wait, is the final still at Lords? I heard they were moving it.
The Test Championship final.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. That Test Championship where one team has played 17 games already and one is on six. That Test Championship.
Now, bro, you don't want to go there. You know how it is, bro. Money talks. Money talks. If you want to learn a lesson on capitalism, just follow cricket, bro. You'll know how much power money has. I mean, Champions Trophy. Apparently, there's going to be two pitches. There's going to be two fields ready for the final. One in another country and the one in another country, depending on whether a certain country is going to agree to go
Make
play
it
the
that far.
it's all politics, man. I don't want to mention the country because I know I might piss a few people off. I'm sorry. I don't mean anything bad, but it is what it is. Money talks. But I am hoping that all the teams are gonna go to Pakistan for the Champions Trophy. If it's safe, there's no reason why the countries, all of them, can't go there. Because at the end of the day, for a country to host a tournament, it's also good for the country. It's good for their cricket. It's good for their economy as well. So let's go to Pakistan because the Proteas will be there to fetch their trophy. This Champions Trophy is ours. Mark my words. You can save this. You can screen record. But yeah, Coachy, thank you for another quality episode. Looking forward to our next one. We'll probably be chatting about the T20 World Cup, the Women's T20 World Cup.
The women.
I wouldn't say we are in trouble, but we are sort of in trouble because you remember when Bafana used to put us in a situation where we have to have our calculators now see who wins how. That's where the women are. We could progress to the next round depending on how the other results go. So I've never supported England. I don't like England, but go England. I hope
Go
they
England.
in this year. I don't know if you've got anything else to say, Coachy, for the rest of the show, so we can say goodbye.
Nah, I've got nothing else to say. Thanks a lot. Thanks for another show, Lou.
Enjoy your game tomorrow. Get wickets, score runs, and yeah, I'll see you when we have another show. And to everyone
Opening the
watching,
bat, I need runs.
here,
Opening the bat, I need runs, but I need
yeah,
runs.
you must. Easy power play, Moss. Use the power play. Use the power play. All right, Coachy. Guys, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you in our next episode on the Boundary. Just two coaches chatting cricket.